Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework developed by Chiara Parazzini at Happywise. We're looking at prosocial leadership, and more specifically, how we can create organizations where people and performance actually flourish together. Let's just dive right in. So, think about this for a second. What if well-being and performance were the exact same goal? I mean, for the longest time, leadership has been heavily associated with authority, right? Control, and basically squeezing out results through sheer pressure. But look, we live in a completely different world now, one marked by complexity, uncertainty, and constant change. That old top-down paradigm is breaking down fast, and a new approach is absolutely necessary. So what exactly is prosocial leadership? Essentially, it refers to intentional actions that promote the well-being, growth, and success of others. Now, some folks might mistakenly view this as kind of soft or even a weakness, but the crucial point here is that it's actually a highly generative use of authority. It's like combining super high expectations with a really high level of care. You're still making the tough calls, you're still maintaining rigorous standards, but your demands are always in service of your team's growth. To see how this plays out, we really have to look at the environments leaders create. Research consistently shows us that people leave environments, and leadership is the single biggest determining factor of those environments. On one side, you've got fear-based leadership. This literally triggers the brain's defensive mode. It leads to chronic stress, hypervigilance, and sure, it extracts performance, but at a constantly increasing, unsustainable cost. On the flip side, trust-based leadership basically opens the brain up. It unlocks genuine engagement, sparks innovation, and creates performance that just arises naturally. Trust becomes the soil where rigor actually produces results instead of just causing paralysis. Now, I can hear the skeptics out there. You might be thinking, okay, this sounds nice, but caring for people is just a costly luxury. We have targets to hit. Well, this is exactly where the concept of compassionomics comes in. This is based on the synthesized work of Stephen Trzeciak and Anthony Mazzarelli, and their research proves that compassion isn't just morally right, it produces concrete, measurable results. Acts of care by a leader actively counteract burnout and produce disproportionate positive effects on trust, engagement, and the actual bottom-line outcomes. It's a real game changer. And the brilliant part is that this extends way beyond just one-on-one relationships. It creates what Wayne Baker calls generative reciprocity. See, prosocial leadership is about the entire network of relationships you build as a leader. When you create a culture where asking for help is actually psychologically safe, reciprocity flows freely, and your organization's social capital just grows. Generosity becomes this shared norm that generates value for literally everyone, rather than just relying on the exploitation of a few generous people. Okay, so let's pop the hood and look at the internal mechanics of a prosocial leader. According to the Happywise model, there are 4 pillars of the science of happiness at play here. You've got plus we, plus being, plus discipline, and plus positive chemistry. It starts with we, so building belonging and inclusion, and being, which means leading yourself with self-awareness first. Then comes discipline, which is just the consistent day in and day out repetition of those trust-building behaviors. Let's actually zoom in on that 4th pillar for a second, positive chemistry. Because this is wild. It turns out, as a leader, you act as a literal neurochemical regulator for your team's brains. Think about it. When a leader uses public criticism or sets really unclear goals, it spikes cortisol in the brain, which leads straight to stress and hypervigilance. But, and here's the magic, if you provide recognition and highlight visible progress, you raise oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. That specific chemical reaction is what directly results in deep trust and active engagement. You are literally changing their brain chemistry. Building right on top of that, prosocial leadership operates across 4 distinct energies. There's physical energy, which simply respects our human limits. Mental energy, which promotes clarity, priorities, and focus. Emotional energy, which actually broadens our cognitive resources. And spiritual energy, which connects the team to the real why behind the work they're doing. The big takeaway you need from this: the positive emotional energy generated by you, the leader, acts as a massive multiplier for all those other energies combined. All right, so how do we translate all this science into daily action? Let's look at some super concrete, observable behaviors you can use around everyday meetings. Before a meeting even starts, a prosocial leader will ask, okay, who needs to be heard today? During the meeting, they're practicing active listening. And I mean really listening to understand, not just waiting for their turn to respond. And right after the meeting, they dedicate time to immediate recognition. They absolutely do not wait for some annual appraisal to tell someone they made a great contribution. They do it right then and there. When it comes down to it, Chiara Parazzini's entire framework hinges on one simple truth. Prosocial leadership is a daily choice. It isn't some static personality trait that you're either born with or you aren't. It is an intentional, everyday decision to use your role to create the exact conditions where your people can feel well, grow, and contribute at their absolute best. So, I'm going to leave you with this one powerful question to chew on. How are you going to use your role today to help your people thrive? Seriously, I encourage you to take this framework and try applying it to your own team dynamics today. You might just find out that performance and well-being truly are the exact same goal. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.